and welcome to this very special online information day for newly admitted program students at Linköping University. Normally, we would be meeting you in a very big lecture hall, but due to the global pandemic, we are doing this online instead. My name is Johanna Gistvik and I work at the international office at Linköping University. And I think you might recognize my name from the numerous emails I've been sending you throughout the rather complicated application process. I know it may have been tough, but I am confident that you will all be very happy to join us this autumn and you will never regret your decision. But enough about me. I'm going to present our very first speaker. She is the Vice Dean from the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, the Associate Professor Åsa Danielsson.
Dear student, most welcome to Linköping University and your Master Studies. My name is Åsa Danielsson. I'm the Vice Dean of Faculty of Arts and Science, one out of 4 faculties of the university. I'm also adjunct professor in environmental science, so some of you will see me as a teacher later on in your studies. As you might know, Linköping University is considered a fairly young university. We were founded in 1975. Well, that's young for me, and most of you weren't even born by then. Anyhow, since then the university has developed and evolved in a number of areas, both in education and research. We also expanded the university, so we are now located at 4 different campuses. 2 in the city of Linköping, 1 in our twin city of Norrköping, and a small campus in Stockholm, the capital of Sweden. I do hope that you take the time to visit more than one campus while being at the university, to see the differences and variation and what we can offer at the different campuses. The mission of the university is to create knowledge, mainly via research. It's also to spread knowledge by teaching you and by learning from you. Both of these tasks, research and education, should be in dialogue with society to make sure what we teach, what we do is relevant for society, and that we will get a sustainable future, all of us together. As for education, we have more than 30,000 students. Most of them are studying at one of our 120 studying programs. 30 of those are international master programs, such as yours. There's a great variety of master programs, from engineering to medical bioscience, gender, child, statistics, computational science, outdoor education, design, business, ethnic migration, ethics, and so on and so on. We're also happy to see that our students get relevant jobs after taking their exams. For several years now, Linköping has been number 1 in Sweden in the shortest time after exam to get a relevant job. So we're really proud of our education, of our students, and of course of our alumni. As for research, we try to have highly quality research that benefits society. Most of our research is done either in disciplinary fields or interdisciplinary, where there's cooperation between subjects, disciplines, and even faculty boundaries, when we have one common problem that we want to solve and we want the expertise from a number of fields. This has rendered us high rankings in different ranking lists, both for research and education. We also strive to be a more and more international university. So we have created strategic partnerships with universities all over the world. At the moment, we have more than 700 agreements with universities in more than 50 countries all over the world, meaning we exchange teachers, students, PhD students, and we also get alumni all over the world. And I do hope that you will become one happy alumni after a few years at the Linköping University. Finally, I would urge you to take the chance while being here at Linköping University. Take the chance to talk to the faculty, to the teacher, to discuss, to expand the limits. As a teacher, we want student active participation. We want the students to discuss with us, to ask us questions, to question our ideas. Also spend time with other students, to broaden your views, to get inspired, to learn more. You are from all over the world with different culture backgrounds, different academic backgrounds. Use that. Make something extra from your studies being here. And of course, take the chance to also be involved in other social activities outside the studies. At the university, in the society, and of course, enjoy fika. A nice cup of coffee is always a great idea. So once again, välkommen!
Thank you, Åsa, for those very inspiring words of welcome. Our next speaker is Carina Schärberg from the International Office, and she is here to give you some practical information about what to expect as newly admitted students, so pay close attention.
Hi, I'm Carina Schärberg, working at the International Office at Linköping University. I will give you a short practical introduction today. During your studies, you can of course always send us an email linked to any non-study related areas such as insurance or accommodation. We are also available in person during lunchtime at Tuesday and Thursday lunch, 12:15 till 13:15 in Studenthuset. The LiU ID. At first, you visit the International Office in Studenthuset. Then you take a queuing ticket and wait for your turn at Info Center. You should activate your LiU ID at Info Center. Beforehand, upload a picture on My IT according to the instructions. As an international program student, you have to come back the next working day in order to receive your LiU card. Then you will have access to internet on campus, your email account, the student portal and LiU's. The LiU card is multifunctional. You have access to all rooms and labs. You borrow books at the library. You use our printing services. You can upload the Mecenat app and have student discounts. You show it on the campus bus to travel for free. And you have access to the gym if you pay the fee. The roll call. The roll call is mandatory, and it is a very Swedish thing. You have to be there, present, in person, and you have to say yes or present when the program director calls your name. If you're not able to be there, you have to inform your faculty coordinator. After the roll call, do not forget to register for the program and the courses you are taking at the student portal. Please note, there are a lot of registrations in the beginning. You also have to register for the exams, for each exam, at least 10 working days before. The best thing to do is to register for the course and also register for the exam at the same time. If you forget to register, you can still go to the exam. However, you will have to wait outside for 30 minutes. It's a standby queue like on an airplane, and you will only be able to enter in case there are still room. And please remember to cancel the registration for the exam in case you will not be able to attend. On the student portal, you will also be able to create your own schedule. You will receive further instructions during the first meeting with the program. Are you conditionally admitted? Then you should listen carefully. You should upload your documentation on your account on universityadmissions.se by November 1st at the latest. Those of you who have Swedish merits, they will be checked automatically. Printing and copying services. For printing and copying, you can either visit our printing services in the A building on Campus Valla or Info Center in Kockenhus in Norrköping. You should also create a DIBS account linked to your LiU ID for printing and copying. For instructions, see the web page. Personal number. in Sweden is the key to all official authorities as your personal ID number. If you are in Sweden more than 12 months, you can apply for an ID number at the tax agency in Linköping or Norrköping. When you apply, you can use your temporary address. However, you have to apply for a population registration certificate online when you have received the information that the personal ID number is ready. These 4 digits at the end of your date of birth is your personal number, and as such private and confidential, and used when in contact with authorities. When you have got it, you should submit it to Info Center. Banking. When you have your personal number, you can go to any bank and apply for a bank account. However, you have to visit them in person, and they do have the right to decline you as a client. So you might have to visit several different banks. So it is up to each bank official whether they want to have you as client or not. Healthcare, it's a 3-step process. If you're feeling just a tiny bit ill, you call 1177. It's dial a nurse, open 24/7. They will ask for your personal number. If you do not have a Swedish ID number, you just hang on and wait, and in the end you will have an English-speaking nurse. You describe your symptoms to her, and she asks you questions in order to help you. Often when calling them, you can just go to the pharmacy and buy whatever you need. If needed, she will refer you to the primary healthcare centre, which is open Monday to Friday from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. They are located close to where you live. Try and call in the morning in order to have an appointment in the same day. If you have an appointment with a doctor or a nurse, you will have to pay 200 kronor per visit. Bring your passport and your European health card or insurance. If needed, they will refer you to the main hospital. Avoid going to the hospital without being referred. You will just have to wait at the emergency where the more important cases will be treated before you. Always call phone number 1177 in order to know what to do if it's not life-threatening. If there is an emergency, a life-threatening situation, you call 112 for ambulance, firemen or police. The same number applies all over Europe. For dental care, Sweden have both private and public dental care. Insurance. All students are insured to and from campus and during classes. If you have a private landlord, be sure to check whether they have home insurance or not and verify that you are included. If you rent from the international office, home insurance is included in the rent. As a European citizen, you bring your European health card or be sure to have a private health insurance. As a fee-paying student, you are covered by the FAS Plus insurance. There you have both emergency medical care and emergency dental care. You have to pay the primary health care visit and then ask for a refund and send in the invoices as well. Contact the international office. Are you still searching for accommodation? If you haven't done it already, start searching immediately. For emergency accommodation upon arrival, visit the combo office and the website, as they offer rooms or apartments from private landlords. They also offer emergency accommodation in Linköping and Norrköping, where you rent a bed per night for about 150 kronor. This service is only open for the admitted students, not any family members. If you are contacting private landlords, send them an email as you do not have a Swedish ID number. It might be easier to get a larger apartment and share it with some other students. Give that a thought. Transport. Everybody's biking in Linköping. From campus to Ryd is about 7 minutes by bike. In Norrköping, it is more or less walking distance. We do bike even in winter time. However, we go slower and some of us use helmets as well. Between Linköping and Norrköping, you can use the campus bus. Östgötatrafiken run urban and regional buses. For Östgötatrafiken, you either use their app or you buy a value card for 30 kronor. The region is divided into different zone tickets, and there are discounts for those under 26. Where can you buy the value card? Either at Pressbyrån at the K building on campus, you have other kiosks and press shops, or at the Central Service Center at the bus station. What is special at LiU? The key button. You have to press the key button when you want to exit a room or open a door after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Otherwise, the campus guards will come. Cash machines. No, we don't have them anymore. Sweden is going towards a cashless society, and at the restaurants, for example, you can only pay with cards. The student kitchens. They have all microwaves, and they are located at several locations all over campus, and they are cleaned every day. So most students bring their own lunch. So, how to survive at Linköping University at the beginning of term? Remember, ask questions. Book a visit if you need to see a teacher or staff. There will be waiting times. Be on time and use the queuing tickets if possible. In Sweden, we love to queue. And remember, we're all different, and we certainly look forward to seeing you at LiU.
Thank you, Carina. I hope you all feel a little bit better prepared now and are maybe a little bit less nervous about what to expect. If not, I'm sure our next speaker will be able to help you. Her name is Galvis, and she is a current student at our business administration program. She's going to tell you about her experiences as a new student.
Hello everybody, my name is Galvis and I'm a master's student in business administration, strategy and management in international organizations. In other words, the SMIO master program. And I would like to share with you that 1 year ago I was accepted to study here, and I know exactly the feelings of excitement and expectations of this new experience. And I can share with you today that for me it has been all worth it. Now, this new chapter that you're starting today in your life, you're going to meet a lot of people, you're going to change your habits, you're going to have new food, and you're going to live a new place with diverse students. But most importantly, I think that you're going to start to getting to know yourself even better and your own culture. I come from Colombia, so my background is a little different from the Swedish culture. So when you come from such a different cultural background in like the other side of the world, I think that you need to have an open mind and really be willing to understand where you're at and how is this new country where you're going to live for the next 2 years. So the best way that I can consider to do this is like fully engaging in this new reality, like understanding Sweden and understanding the new university that you're going to be part of now. But learning does not only happen in the classroom. It also takes part in daily life. An example of this is just going to a Swedish local store or office and realizing that you always have to look for a queue. You just cannot like get in and like start to talking in the front desk. So learning those little details in Swedish culture is a must. This is something that you need to do just after stepping down from the airplane. So I will suggest you that you should make the best experience of studying here during 2 years, even in the toughest days when you might be struggling with your studies, and sometimes you even have to study until very late at night, and sometimes you can get very tired of reading a lot of research articles or a lot of books every month. Now, getting back at life at university, I must say that it is very common to get lost in the campus buildings. So my recommendation here is to look at the indoor maps in the LiU app that you can download in your phone. It is very common that students need to ask for help to each other to understand where is the classroom. So I've been looking for my own classmates just 5 minutes before the class starts. So a very efficient way of avoiding this, which is very important, is to look for your own classroom one day before your class starts. Getting late to classes in Sweden is a huge no. So yeah, this is a very important advice that you need to take seriously. I'm sure that your teachers and your classmates are going to appreciate it. So my final recommendations and reflections of my life here in Sweden and at LiU for the last 2 years are the following. First, I learned that being in complete dark at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it can be normal. Wintertime is a difficult time if you're not used to it, not because of the cold, it's because of the lack of light. So I think like you really need to start doing some research to know how to handle this. What I discovered, it's a concept that Swedish people do that is called fredagsmys. Fredagsmys is like a plan that you do with your family of your friends every Friday, and it's about like feeling cozy at your place and eating your favorite snacks and watch a movie. So even though that you have to go out and face the winter, you can always come back home and start like doing this hangout where you can feel cozy and comfortable and enjoy your time. So I have very specific recommendations regarding winter if you're not used to it. First of all, is like you really need to wear a great, a thick waterproof jacket, a hat, you always have to use a hat, some thick gloves and waterproof boots. When you have like what is necessary for you to like go out and face winter, you just need a lot of courage, because going out under -5, it's like something that it can take some time to get used to, but I'm sure that if I made it, you can do it too. My second recommendation is to learn Swedish. I have been studying Swedish and I know like some basic words now and I can like start some conversations. So my advice here is just start by greeting and learning the basic words like hey hey or tack tack or varsågod, and I'm sure that if you start using these words in your everyday conversations, it's going to be so much easier for you to start meeting Swedish students. And in here, I would like to recommend you to go to the Language Cafe. This is an activity that happens every week in Campus Valla, and there you can teach your own language to other students, and most importantly, you can start talking with Swedish students and start training your own level of Swedish. These activities are part of the students' associations of the university, and it's arranged by Elin. In this case, this is like the Economics Students Association of LiU, and I also would like to invite you particularly to the Master Club. This is a specific group inside the Elin Association, and here you're going to be able to meet people from different master programs and make different activities during the whole year. Now, in my program, part of the learning process, it's involved with learning by experience and solving real business cases. So I think this is a great opportunity that you can take here at LiU, is that real companies are going to come and you're going to be able to collaborate with them from being part of the university, and also you're going to be able to study and make recommendations to solve current global issues that we face today. Just to give you like an example, in my class, we did a collaboration with Saab. Saab is a Swedish aerospace and defense company in Sweden, and our job was to forecast the future of Saab for the next 50 years. So I think like when you are able to like understand the theoretical framework and your own background into a real business that is going to face new challenges in the future, that is a great learning process for you. And I also consider it's quite unique. Lastly, my final reflection is that it is okay to feel homesick and feeling tired of being abroad from time to time. I think this happens to everybody and is completely normal. But I can say from my own experience that those feelings will go away when you discover what makes you happy in Sweden. And soon you're going to realize that all of those things that look so different in the beginning, like new people, a new place, a new language, at some point are going to start feeling familiar. And then you're going to realize that all these new people that comes from such a different cultural backgrounds, you're going to start having things in common with them. And somehow they're going to become like your family at some point. Times go fast, but we will always carry all these lessons with us, and I think this is a great opportunity that you have ahead of you. So good luck and welcome to the Linköping University. It is a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Ella, for sharing your very first experiences with us. I'm sure you're now all excited and eager to have your own first experiences. Next up is Dr. Maria Strääf from the Department of Culture and Society, and she is here to tell you about how LiU can help you improve your academic English skills.
Hello everyone, my name is Maria Strääf. I am with Academic English Support, and I'm here today to tell you about how we work and that we are here for you and that you can contact us at any time. I'll tell you all about the details. Academic English Support is financed centrally by the university, and it's run by the English department. And most of the time our teachers give courses in the subject English as a single subject or in the program courses that are geared towards teacher programs at Linköping University. And in many of the courses at Linköping University, the language of instruction is English. This means that students will have to study their subject in the English language, even though this isn't your first language. And that could be pretty difficult. So, and this is particularly the student group that AES, or Academic English Support, targets. So, in order to get language support while at LiU, the students who need support, they will contact us directly by the web page, which I will show you in my last slides. Let's go to slide 2. Okay, so we're a free service. We offer you help within any course that you take at LiU. You can see us as many times as you need. And there will be free help by lecturers from the English department. So it's open for all students. From the up to advanced levels, but not PhD students. And you can reach us from all campuses, at Valla, at US, at Campus Norrköping. And online is also a way that you can reach us and the way that we can offer support. So we could meet you or we could support you by online support. And like I said before, it's staff run, which means that you will get help from teachers of the English department. So it's not student run. And there will also be some workshops that are run digitally. And the third, now, what can AES do for you? Well, it's individual guidance that regards either your written projects or when it has to do with something that if you have to give an oral presentation, for instance. So we can help you with both writing or speaking. And you can get, with what kind of assignments can you get help? Yeah, I listed some of them here. It could be exams, it could be take-home exams, of course. It could be papers that you write, it could be reports that you have to write. It could be oral presentations or anything else that is related to your courses that you take. And in writing, you can get help with how you plan and structure a text to achieve internal logic of the text and to phrase yourself clearly so that the reader will understand what you mean. You can also get help with language and grammar from our teachers. You can get help with speaking in terms of how you prepare a presentation or how you structure your message to get across your points to the listeners. It's also, and the structure could pertain to, say, when you link, how you keep the line of argument going. And the second point here, the language and grammar part, could have to do with linguistic skills, with vocabulary, for instance. And also questions like which tone or style is best suited for this text or for the presentation that you want to give. And also, lots of people like to get help with how to cite. How do you cite a source to avoid plagiarism? Because you don't want to be blamed with that, right? So, and how do I write my text so that it's evident that what I say as an author is what I'm saying and not what the scholar is saying? So how do I make a difference between what the scholar says that I cite and my own comment about that scholar, what that scholar says? So this is an important thing. On the other hand, what will we not do for you? Well, we will not proofread your texts. So our aim is to provide you with tools that you need to continue working on your own towards developing your academic writing skills and speaking skills, perhaps. So we can support you with, like I said before, structure and language, but not with the content. This has to do with your supervisor. If you're writing a paper, for instance, this is the teacher of the course that you're taking who helps you with this. But we can help you find the weak points and show you how to solve them in the future. And I spoke about the learning process, how you will learn the skills you need to produce academic English in your papers. And then the last point here, contact us in good time. Learning takes time. So it's not, if you have a paper due in 1 week, you can't contact us the week before. So you need time. Give yourself time to learn, and feedback takes time. So it's really important that you send in your requests early. Now, how will you contact us? It's easy. You go to the webpage, to the address that you see on the blue address on top of the screen, or you could even just Google Academic English Support and LiU. That's how you could find us. And this is where you'll end up then. This is how it looks. And then you go to the left-hand menu and select Make an Appointment for AES. You click there, and this is what you'll see then. And then here it says that you have to choose where you want to see your language supervisor. And you could click if you're a Norrköping student, you can just click that, or you could say that you want online support if you're, for instance, a student that's not working from Linköping, a distance student. And then you fill in a little bit about what your assignment is about, if it's a thesis or if it's a report or if it's another kind of assignment. And you can describe a little bit more in the box below, all the way at the bottom. And then you fill in your name, that's easy enough, and then you fill in your email. And here it's really, 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 really important that you use your LiU email address, so you don't use a private one, because then we don't know that you're actually an LiU student. So this is how we will determine who we will be able to help or not. So if you use a different address, we might not get back to you. So do use your LiU student email address. That's really important. And then lastly, at the bottom, you can just say what you need help with, that you have an oral assignment that you're really nervous about or something, and then can help you with that. So, my next slide is about, this is what they may look like. These are some actual requests that we have been getting. So somebody is asking at the top here that he's writing his master thesis and his professor is unhappy with the report, with the English language standard, the standard of the English language that he uses. So he wants to meet to learn some more. And the same goes for the other one. The next one has problems with discussion and analysis and results and how they write that section. And the last one wants to improve writing skills. and also give an oral presentation, and to avoid plagiarism. Here are like 3 actual requests that he's making. Okay, so, but lastly, I want to just tell you thank you very much for listening, and I really hope that I will be meeting you within the framework of AES, because it's really an exciting work. We learn a lot by reading all kinds of different reports from all kinds of different subjects and meeting students from all over the world, and that's that's a real bonus in my job. So and remember that we're here for you. We're here to help you, and it's free, and you can contact us as many times as you want. So I hope to see you. Bye-bye.
So thank you, Maria. It's great to know that you and your colleagues are here to help our students whenever they need it. So we all know that reading lots and lots of course material is a crucial part of university studies. Luckily, LiU has several libraries and lots of helpful librarians. Our next speaker is Senior Librarian Tobin.
Welcome to Linköping University Library. My name is Tobin, and I will tell you about the library at Linköping University and how we can help you with your studies. At Linköping and Norrköping there are 3 libraries, and you are welcome to visit them all. To borrow books is free, but if you return them too late, there can be a fee. The opening hours at our libraries during this autumn is Mondays to Fridays from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. You don't need to register for a library card. You already have one. The LiU card works as your library card and your key card. It can also be used to print and scan. The standard loan period for books is 3 weeks. If there is a reservation on the book when you borrow it, the loan period is reduced to 1 week. Borrowing and reservations are free of charge. You can return our material at any LiU library in Linköping or Norrköping, regardless of where you borrowed it. The reference copies of textbooks are available at the campus library where the course is given. The library's search engine is called Unisearch. You find it on the library's webpage. When you use Unisearch, you are searching not only the library catalogue for books, but also in the many databases the library has access to. To get access to all our resources, you need to log on by using your LiU account. It's a good place to start your search. With My Loans, you manage your library loans, reservations, and renew items online. Borrowing and reservations are free of charge. Material not included in collections can be requested through interlibrary loan or by a purchase suggestion. If you have questions about your loans, your library services, or information seeking, there are librarians on hand to help you. You can also chat with us online during semesters on Mondays to Fridays between 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You are also welcome to email us at biblioteket@liu.se. Thank you for your attention and welcome to us at the library.
So thank you, Anne. So do make sure that you visit our libraries during your first time here. They are great places to study. So being a new student in a new town, in a new country, can be quite stressful and very overwhelming. Especially Swedish winters are long and dark and cold, and it can just sometimes be too much. So it's a good thing to know that the student health is here to help you. Our next speaker is Pettersson, one of our very excellent counselors.
Hi, my name is Marie and I'm working as a counselor at the Student Healthcare Center. This is a 2.5-minute presentation of the student healthcare and what we can do to support you as a student. Our staff consists of counselors and psychotherapists, nurses, a mental health counselor, mindfulness instructors, a coordinator and a coach, and coordinators for students with disabilities. Our services are characterized by a student-focused approach where student needs are reflected in what we offer. The service is a complement to the County Council health and medical care. We give advice and counseling support on health-related issues and lifestyle matters, as for if you're feeling worried, anxious, if you feel you are in a low mood, having crisis, feeling lonely, or something else that becomes an obstacle for your studies. We focus on preventive health work with a perspective of promoting studies. And of course, we also provide support and service for students with disabilities. If you like, you can also join a seminar or a workshop in different themes, as how to cope with stress and anxiety, or low mood or depression, or mindfulness. And you find the information where and when these seminars are on our webpage. All the counseling and workshops are free of charge. And all the counseling are, of course, confidential. So welcome to contact us. You find us at LiU's webpage at Student Support. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. So don't hesitate to contact her or one of her colleagues if ever you feel the need for it. So as new students, you are going to meet people from all over the world. But you're also going to meet the locals. Here to tell you all about the weird quirks of the Swedes is Dr. Lars Liljegren from the Department of Culture and Society.
Welcome to Sweden, everyone. My name is Lars Liljegren. I'm head of English here at LiU, and I'm going to give you a talk entitled Meet the Swedes, or How to Survive a Visit to Sweden with One's Dignity Intact. I claim that in order to successfully communicate with any other culture, you need more than the language. You need cultural awareness. And I dare say, cultural awareness may even save your life. Here's an example of how in Britain you might fall into the water, and on the left you can see the wrong way of asking for help. Help! Nothing happens because, of course, in Britain we're polite. So the right way is, of course, to say, "Excuse me, sir, I'm terribly sorry to bother you, but I wonder if you would mind helping me a moment, as long as it's no trouble, of course." And immediately people come to your rescue. I often say to my students of English that the better you are at speaking a language, the more you are expected to understand how to behave. If Swedes come to England and go into a pub and say in poor English, "Hello, I want the beer, please," then they can do very strange things, and people will be fine with that, simply because these are Swedes after all. But if they speak really good English, suddenly people expect them to know how to behave in accordance with British norms as well. So today, the aim is to help you people avoid cultural clashes when you are in Sweden, and also to enable a generally greater understanding of cultural differences in general and of Swedish culture in particular. So if we talk about culture, we need to know what we mean about when we say culture. So when I say culture, I mean specific traits as regards behavior, expectations, habits, communicative strategies, etc., that are typical of the people of a country or a region and often distinguish it from other parts of the world. Of course, there's a danger when we do this, because who is a typical Swede these days? So many people come from other cultures and have other norms. So you have to be aware of the fact that this talk will be generalizing a bit. I'd like to introduce to you another concept here as well, and that is the concept of habitus. Our habitus is all around us all the time, and it's inherited through history, through your family, and it's also taught through your upbringing, through your school. And it allows us to act within the expected norms of a certain society or culture in order to gain acceptance and raise our social status. So basically, in your own society, in your home culture, you all probably have a pretty good understanding of how people expect you to behave. Even though there are no written laws here, there are norms that you know, and therefore you can follow them. Now you've come to Sweden, we are sure to have very different norms, and you still don't know about these. And until you do, you will struggle to find yourself accepted. Of course, Swedes, in our meetings with other cultures, we can make fools of ourselves. So before I start talking about how you might make fools of yourselves in Sweden, I'll just give a couple of examples of how that might happen to Swedes. One of the things I'd like to bring up here, which is very important to remember, is that most of the communication that takes place between two individuals is not oral communication, not spoken language, even though most of us often think that. Instead, it's other types of communication, very often through our body language. People say that about 70% of all our communication is actually non-verbal. Hand signs are one of those cases where we can go very wrong, where we think we may be saying one thing, but we may be saying another thing. I'll give you a couple of examples. This symbol in Swedish, or in Swedish culture, it means perfect, just right. But I do know that in some cultures it means let's go up to my room and have some fun. This in Sweden means no. In some cultures it means yes. So you can imagine Swedes going abroad, making the combination of this and this can go very wrong indeed. Also, the way we stand when we interact with people can tell them something about us. And if I come into a classroom and one of you sits there and there's a broken window, and I ask you, did you destroy the window? And you say, no. And you look away and you all turn all red in the face. What does that mean? Well, will I listen to your word? No. Or will I rather believe your body language? I think this proves a very important fact as regards how important it is to know about your body language. Some typically Swedish traits then that I'd like to talk about. The first one, fika. Whenever I usually give this talk live, students always know this word. They've been 2-3 days in Sweden, but they all know what fika is. When the Brits go to the pub, we have a fika. It's sitting down with your friends or colleagues to have a cup of coffee or tea and something sweet to chew on, to have a pause, but also to socialize. It's an excuse to socialize, if you like. And Swedes love to have an excuse to socialize. And food here tends to be very important. I will return to this shortly. Other interesting cultural traits. We tend to dress down for work and dress up for the pub. I know that most other cultures do it in the different order. So we often get people from other countries who come to Sweden, come to the workplace, all dressed up in a suit and tie, only to find Swedes in saggy jeans and a worn-out t-shirt. And then the Swedes say, let's go to the pub in the afternoon and have some fun and socialize. And the foreigner will think, have I got time to run downtown, get some saggy jeans and a worn-out t-shirt, buy it and put it on, and then they come to the pub and all the Swedes are well-dressed. So you'll be damned whatever you do. So this is good to know. At university, being a student, it's okay to dress down. One thing Swedes do and many other cultures don't, we take off our shoes in someone else's home when we come for a visit. I know for a fact that in many cultures this is considered a very intimate act. It's like walking around in your pajamas basically. But Swedes do this. It's a sign of respect for whoever needs to clean up after you. So good to know. Good survival tip, that one. we like to be on time. If we invite someone for dinner in the evening, and we say, please come at 7. I know Brazilians won't come before 9 at least. But Swedes are peculiar in that way. We think if we say 7, it's because we think when the watch says it's now 7 o'clock, that's 7, that's when you should come. So being on time is rather important, especially, of course, at the university. Here's a little tip also on a more social level. Don't come too early to parties, but no later than 10 minutes late. Why? Well, it all has to do with the food, like I indicated before. Whereas most cultures, they get together and the focus is on getting together and socializing, and then, after a while you can have some food. Food is the focus. So if you come more than 10 minutes late, people will already have sat down to eat. And say if you're half an hour late, they will either have waited for you and the food is getting cold. That is not a good start. Or they started to eat and you have to eat alone and the food has got cold. But whatever you do, don't come 10 minutes too early. Why not then? Well, the host and the hostess will have prepared the food to be ready just after people have arrived, which means that you don't put on your fancy clothes when you prepare the food, right? So you shove it into the oven, say 6:45, and then you rush down into the shower. So if you ring the bell 10 minutes too early, the host and hostess may still be in the shower. Not a good start. So never come too early. Sweden takes pride in everything having to be fair and equal. Sometimes maybe we try to overdo this. This is a personal note of mine. But we really do try our very best. And it's just a good thing for you to know straight away. We're also the country of lagom. Most countries don't have this word. Some do, but most don't. But the word lagom describes Swedes very well. If something or someone is lagom, they're just right. Not too much, not too little. They don't stand out in any way. They're just like everybody else. And that's what we like. And this is closely tied in with something called the janty law. This comes from Norway originally, but it certainly applies to Sweden. And the janty law says, don't think that you're better than anyone else. Don't brag, don't show off, just blend in and be as lagom as you can. That means, and I know this for a fact, many of you will come from cultures where you have been told from an early age, you've got to show people what you can do. You've got to tell them, because how else will they know? You won't do well in life unless you do this. This is not the case in Sweden, and this is part of our different habitus, if you like. We have different norms about how to behave. The trick is to be good, be very humble, don't say anything about it, but through your actions, make sure that people see it. Then they'll be twice as impressed instead. Swedes also have a great need for personal space. Our personal territory is very, very wide. If we meet strangers, the comfortable distance at which we meet them is something like between 1 meter and 1.5 meters. Most other cultures have much closer personal space. In the 1960s and 1970s, Sweden sent a lot of people down to Saudi Arabia and thereabouts to try and do business in oil. All of them came back empty-handed. No one could understand why until they sent down a psychologist to study what went on in those meetings. And what happened was we had very different personal spaces. So people in Saudi Arabia are fine to meet this close. This is your face, this is their face. Swedes feel frightened by this and shy away. Whereupon, of course, the guy from Saudi Arabia thinks, okay, this is weird. So he closes in and the Swedes backs off. And this becomes a dancing act until the guy from Saudi Arabia thinks he doesn't like me. No deal. So this has nothing to do with whether or not you can speak the language. It has to do with understanding the norms of how to behave, knowing, if you like, the habitus of the people you meet. Brown and Levinson are two scholars who came up with politeness theory in the 1970s. And they have tried to describe Swedes' behavior by terming it a case of negative politeness. Sounds rather weird, but I'll explain what I mean by this, or what they mean by it, if you like. So Swedes, when you meet them, you may have neighbours who are Swedes. Many of you will soon recognize, if you haven't already done so, that when you say hi to a Swede, the Swede will say, hi, and then go inside. And you'll think, that's a strange way of greeting your neighbour. He doesn't like me. And the Swede might think, I did a nice thing. I said hi to the neighbour. You see, in negative politeness theory, the way people think in those societies is not, I'm now going to be socially positive and say hi and you know, help my neighbour out and ask questions. No, my neighbour probably has many more important things to do than to talk to me. So I won't get in his or her way, I'll just stay away. And that's how I show respect. Of course, very often that's not how this is considered by the non-Swede who experiences this. But I do believe there is something to this theory. And in general, Swedes tend to be rather shy. Unless they get a chance to speak English, then many of them jump at the chance of doing that. So that might be a tip. So we've come to Swedish culture at the university and some things you should know about before you start your studies here. First of all, teachers tend to have a very low level of formality compared with most other countries. This sometimes leads to problems because some students who come from cultures where the teachers at their university are high up on a pedestal and you fear them, then they find it hard to relate to their Swedish teachers here. But because we have a low level of formality, we are okay with being addressed with our first names and so on. That is not the same thing as the Swedish teachers being your servants, people, and this is something you should remember if you thought so. You will find that teachers tend to be dressed down. They might be sitting on the desk when they speak. I've had students say, I can't respect that teacher. Oh, why not? She sits on the desks while talking. Now, this is not because the teacher does not respect his or her profession or his or her students. Instead, it is done to try and create a climate in the classroom where the students are no longer afraid of that teacher and therefore dare to interact, ask questions, put forward ideas without fearing anyone in the classroom. So we have the ideology that having discussions with students rather than telling them how it is not a sign of the teacher not knowing his or her subject. I'd rather say the opposite. If I give a lecture and I don't allow questions, I'm in total control of what goes on in the classroom and I can stay within my comfort zone. But a teacher who dares to ask the students questions, who allows the students to ask questions back and put forward ideas, that is a teacher who really needs to know his or her subject very well. Otherwise, maybe something is brought up that they don't know about. There is also a very important thing you need to know, some of you, and that is the Swedish or generally Western take on plagiarism. Whenever you write academic papers, which you submit to your teacher with your name underneath, and the teacher's job is to mark it and give it a grade, you must avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism is when you take someone else's idea or take someone else's words, word for word, and put them into your own text without acknowledging the fact that you borrowed the ideas or you borrowed these exact words from someone else. I know that in some cultures this is a sign of respect for your supervisor. People are expected to do that in the culture they come from. Here, it's a crime. Plagiarism is a crime. You have taken someone else's ideas, pretended that they were yours, and that is stealing. So please avoid doing this. This will lead to suspension if it happens. And we have had quite many cases of this, especially with foreign students. Not because we can't trust foreign students, but because foreign students come from other cultures with other norms that they have learned. And therefore, it takes time for them to readjust. And it's so sad when these things happen. So please remember this. Plagiarism is a crime. And then on a final note, people, if you want to get to know a Swede, 1, don't give up hope. 2, we're not all that bad after all. Thank you for listening and best of luck out there.
Thank you, Lars. The Swedes can indeed be a very strange bunch, but I am sure you're now well prepared and that you will learn to love us soon. Thank you again for joining us for this very special edition of the Information Day. And I hope you all feel prepared and ready and eager to come here to Linköping University very soon. I know we are all very excited to meet you. Welcome to Linköping University.